watch the Chew every day when I work out because it's always on when I'm at the gym. I go before work. Today is no exception. That's what I was doing my thing on the treadmill when, of course, the commercial break comes on. Commercial break is the worst part of my workout because I hate working out and I need something to distract me. So I'm glancing around, la 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 la, and I notice Secretary Clinton is on the television next to the one I'm watching. So I switch channels on my headset and I'll look over there, and Secretary Clinton is in fact giving a speech about how extremists tend to target women when they're selecting people to deal out human rights violations to. I'm not sure why they do it. Secretary Clinton wasn't quite sure either, but it does seem to be the case that women get marginalized by these extremist wackos. And I thought that was an interesting point. And right about that time that she made that point, the clip ends, and lo and behold, I am watching Fox News, and joy of joys, it's Megyn Kelly. Okay, Megyn Kelly is my least favorite person on Fox News, and she's worked very hard to earn that title. It seems that the woman cannot open her mouth without saying something hateful or just plain stupid. So, and again, no exception in this case. Megyn Kelly has with her two people, one a former aide to Secretary Clinton, I believe when she was Senator Clinton, and two, a former aide to President Bush the Younger. And they have conflicting ideas of whether or not Secretary Clinton was appropriate in her giving this speech to what turns out to be a conference of women's issues. Where else are you going to give that speech, right? And so that's very well and good, and I'm not really interested in that. They pretty much follow their party lines, and I'm so sick of people following their party lines, so I'm not going to go into that. But Megyn Kelly has an opinion, and that being that Secretary Clinton was wrong in pointing out the recent drawbacks and setbacks that we've had in the United States with women's reproductive health, and mentioning that those recent drawbacks in the United States in the same speech as she mentioned human rights violations against women in places like Afghanistan, where women have virtually no rights as people. Megyn Kelly says that, well, that's obviously not the same thing. It's not as bad, and so you shouldn't say it. You shouldn't conflate the two in any way, because that is diminishing to women in the United States, and it's diminishing to the suffering of women in places like Afghanistan. And I am getting so sick of this argument. You'll hear it when people compare the marginalization of gay people to the systematic marginalization of black people in American history. And these people will say, well, it's not as bad, so you can't use the same word. You can't say that gay people are marginalized. You can't say that their rights are violated because they don't have to drink from separate drinking fountains and they have never been systematically enslaved in the United States, which is true. Fortunately, that is a good thing. That's not the standard that we want to set before we start helping people. In the same way, Afghanistan is not the standard we want to set before we start realizing that women are people too. If we use the same logic that these people are trying to use, then we have to say that, well, it's not really kidnapping if a family takes a child and raises them and loves them and is good to that child and treats them as its own child, their own child. When you can look out and see where children are kidnapped and forced to be child soldiers in some crazy jungle uprising. That's not as bad. So it's not the same thing. No, it's not as bad, but it's still wrong. That is what we are trying to say. That's what Secretary Clinton was saying. When you see violations like that, when you see steps in the wrong direction, we have to correct them as a society. That was her point, and if I can find a video, I will link it in the description bar so you can see what she actually said instead of taking my word for it. And again, if I can find a clip from Megyn Kelly's show, I'll also link that. I haven't been able to yet. But but the point of my video here is that just because something isn't as bad, just because a human rights violation or a crime isn't as bad, doesn't mean it's not still the same thing. First degree, second degree, and third degree murder is all murder. Okay, so those of you who say that, sort of go through that line of thinking and make that argument, oh, it's not the same because it's not as bad, so you can't use the same word. Stop saying that. It's stupid. Have a lovely day.